Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to another What's Up Wednesday, episode 86. 86 continuous weeks of bringing you ways to be a better traveler in a camper van. That's what we do here. Whether it's products, tips, van tours, even bringing in amazing guests like the CEO of Harvest Hosts and Boondocker Welcome for that matter. He is our guest tonight. He's going to join us from the green room here in just a couple minutes. Let me roll you through the program. And by the way, if we're meeting for the first time, howdy. My name is Scott. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Go Small, Live Large. Thanks to all the folks that are coming in tonight for the live stream, and many thanks for watching the replay. Valuable information. We go for 1 hour, and I'm just really thrilled to have Joel, the CEO of Harvest Hosts, as our guest tonight. That's kind of a big deal. So let me run you through the program, and then we'll say hi to a few folks, and then we'll get into it with Joel. So this is the program tonight. I'll zoom in for you. So we got Joel here in just a few minutes. We got Libation Live. This is actually a bottle of wine from the Harvest Hosts site I'm staying at tonight. And then we've got a big song for you. Michael Jackson's breakout song. Libation Live comes from the winery I'm staying at tonight. This is the TERRA Vineyard. Sauvignon Blanc, you'll see that I've opened it. It's pretty good already. But it's really all about your questions, particularly for Harvest Host tonight. For Joel, Boondocker Welcome, if you got a lot of questions on that kind of a topic, then you'll want to get those directed to him. But we always like to answer whatever questions you have. Been traveling, this is my third year in a Winnebago Travado camper van, pretty amazing, and a heavy user of Harvest Host. So and if you have, we got a lot of good recommendations coming in via email, but if you are wanting to give a tip tonight and elevate your question, what we want to do is use this format. This is 3 stars followed by 3 question marks. That'll help me find your question, but more readily, if you want to use a tip and get a jingle in the jar, there it is. We sure do appreciate your monetary support. It's how I make my living. I don't have a job. This is what I do, is just help you be a better RVer. So I'm pretty excited about that. On my website, gosmallivelarge.com, there's a form you can get really wordy. Some of you do, on how to do this. So let me show you where I'm coming at from, and then we'll get Joel on the stage here, give him just a few more minutes in the green room. I am coming at you from Hunker, Pennsylvania. Yeah, I didn't know there was one of these either. Hunker, Pennsylvania. There's the van out in the parking lot. I'm at a Harvest Host site tonight, which is Bellaterra. It's about an hour-ish, kind of southeast of Pittsburgh, out in the rolling hills. What's kind of funny about it is I'm actually in a Super 8 motel parking lot because the rolling hills were such that Verizon couldn't reach me. So I had to move into town just a tad, but that's where we're coming at you from. Here's the weather. This is just lovely RVing weather. 75 today. It's going to be 64 tonight. No AC necessary. California's on fire, like they usually are, and Arizona's pretty hot, but the rest of this is kind of cooling down now, which is pretty cool. And here's the gasoline. Not a huge spread, 64 cents. I actually filled up today at 356 in town, and 419 is the highest. And if you want to buy a house, you can actually get one for 75 grand. Probably not too much of a house, or all the way up to $1.3 million. So pretty wide spreads, probably based upon your, I don't know, your view, right? That's kind of what location. I've got a great group in here tonight. All right, let's see what's next. Where are you watching from? Very important. Always love to know where that is. So the question is, where are you watching from tonight? What's the weather? And what's the destination of your next trip? And I put this today. We had Canada in the house last night, and I kind of made a boo-boo. I didn't really think about this until I had put this together today, which is I should have kept all the flags on this map and just kept adding to it. Because I think we've had every continent represented except Africa now. We got to find somebody in, I don't know, Niger or something to join the show. But let us know where you're watching from. Super important. And with that, we're going to say hi to just a few folks. And we want to get Joel on here because it's really his precious time that we do not want to waste. But let me say hi to a few folks. We got Denim in the house. Gasoline, almost $2.99. Just another week or two, right? There's Robin in the house. 450. That must be California. Yep. Jeez. Will it ever go down to California? Ryan's in the house. Been a long time viewer. Thank you, sir, for watching us from the couch. Appreciate that. Here's New York Ron. Here's Barry. Hey, if you're new to the program, by the way, type in NEW so we can give you a shout out live or during the replay. FLL California, Florida, 335 a gallon. That's pretty reasonable. Let's see. We want to give a shout out to David. He's at the RV Hall of Fame, which is a Harvest Host site, boys and girls. And they can actually just wander in there. You don't need to check in or anything. It's pretty nice. They have a huge parking lot. We got Frisco Tea in the house, and Sherry's in the house. I'm glad to see you, ma'am. Nice to. Oh, then you're going to the Tennessee Expo. I'm so excited to have you joining us and some others. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Tim's from Columbus, and JK's in the house. So we got a lot of regulars and some new folks as well. Central Massachusetts. So just thanks everybody for joining us live. I'm really excited for this show. We've been planning this for many months, and I am just so delighted to bring on Joel. Joel, you ready? Let me take you off mute on my end. And ladies and gentlemen, can I introduce you to Joel Holland? He is the CEO of Harvest Host. Joel, say hello to the folks.
Hey, Scott, how are we doing? Thanks for having me. Pleasure,
Yes.
Pleasure to be in your van.
Thank you. And in my head and my ears and my eyes. It's so great.
That's right.
I am just so excited to have you here. It's just an honor to have somebody of your caliber in our show tonight. We've had some really big brands over the years, and first time with you guys. So again, thanks for joining us, the CEO of Harvest Host. I got a few questions for you. I know some of the audience has as well. So let's just kind of give the folks a little tip off and learn about you in just a moment. But I thought it'd be kind of fun to poke fun that I've been a true believer in Harvest Host since day one. Member since October 4, 2018. My member number is in the 4,000s. That'd be 4 digits. Joel, how many members do you guys have now?
Yeah, I just checked live. We have 244,112. So a little growth from 4,000. So thank you for being an OG, as they say.
OG, HHBAW, OMG. No kidding. It's such a great program. I crow about it all the time. And we did a little survey, Joel. Let's show the viewers this. This is a few months back, but about 50% of the 200 people voting said they have it or want to get Harvest Host, which kind of we'll get to in just a second, but pretty impressive. It's getting really well known. You guys are doing a great job.
No, thank you. I love to see this. It's, I mean, I eat the dog food. I mean, I'm one of the biggest users of Harvest Hosts. And so I'm glad to hear other people love it as much as I do.
That would be funny to roll into a Harvest Host site and your membership number is a CEO. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
The Winery tonight was pretty impressed you were coming on. Maybe just take a minute and give us a little background on yourself. Here's some information I snuck off of LinkedIn. You come from a really interesting background. You were a journalist and Storyblocks. I know about that being in the media business, but maybe just give us a little snapshot of your resume, if you will.
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess I've kind of been an entrepreneur my whole life. I've just always enjoyed building great products and selling them. That's what motivates me. I went to Babson College, which is strictly an entrepreneurial business school. While I was there, I was building Storyblocks, and over time, there were a few products: video blocks, audio blocks, and graphic stock. So we were basically competing with Getty Images and Shutterstock and some of these others in the stock media world. Very different from Harvest Host, but with a lot of similarities in that it was also a membership-based business, a passion-driven business. I really enjoy photography and videography. And so the way I got into that, right out of high school, I actually took a year off between high school and college. And I traveled all over the country, not by RV. I wasn't into RVing yet, but I traveled by plane, and I would take a video camera and I'd shoot video clips of all the major cities. And I would cut them into little pieces and then sell them to production companies, TV stations, and studios. That's what became Storyblocks. And so after college, I went full-time with that business. We ended up growing it to about 100 employees, fairly large business, and then sold it. And once we sold it, my wife and I were living in the DC area at the time, and we were tired of traffic and congestion. It's a great city, but we just didn't want to be in a city anymore. And so we kind of impulsively, and actually very impulsively, we went to a wedding in Manassas, Virginia. And the day after the wedding, we're both a little hungover, a little tired. Neither one of us really wanted to go back to the city. And we're like, man, can't we just keep going? And there was an RV dealership, Rainus RV, which I think subsequently has become a Camping World. We went in, started walking through units, and we're like, this is it. This is the coolest. We could get inside of a traveling house and just go without stopping. That's all we've ever wanted to do. Feel totally free of the chains of, the city. And that's what we did. I mean, we bought it. We bought it on, luckily it wasn't like today where everything's super expensive and out of inventory. It was 2014 or 2013 and plenty of units. So we negotiated, we got a good price on on the first Reflection that Grand Design ever created. And so there's a new company at the time, Grand Design.
Yeah.
We walked in, it was more modern. It had more of the amenities that like the colors that we liked. And we're like, yeah, this will work. So it's funny, we bought the fifth wheel first. And then we're like, well, now we need something to pull it. We had no truck, right? So we're a bunch of city slickers with these little cars. So found a Ford dealership, bought an F-250 and put them together and hit the road and totally fell in love. And ended up, our goal was to RV for a while, open-ended plans, get bored with it in a couple of months, go back to real life. And the reality is, the longer we drove, the more amazing RVers we met, and the lifestyle just grew on us more and more. And we just never gave up. We ended up RVing through all the lower 48 states over 2 years, totally relocated on that trip. We were kind of also looking at one of the reasons to go through all the states. We're like, we don't have kids yet. If we wanted to live somewhere else, where might that be? And it was a really fun exercise to go through these states and just say, hey, is this the state? Is this the state? And ultimately, the state for us was Colorado. We love Colorado. We drove into Vail almost as impulsively as we bought the RV. We pulled it in front of a house and bought a house. And so, and that was 6 years ago. And we've been here full time for 6 years. But we now jump off from here with our fifth wheel and our truck camper. We're almost always, like I'm taking off tomorrow to go to the RV Entrepreneurship Summit in Montrose. So we're always, trying to be on the road.
That is so great. So I'm just curious if anybody resonates with some of that story, travel, whim, and just finding things. Traveling on the ground is so different than in an RV than flying around in hotel rooms, I've discovered.
Let me tell you about the airplane thing, guys. I gave this analogy to somebody today. They asked me, why is RVing still so popular? And, pre-pandemic, it was already growing in popularity because I think there was this like, people were going back to small towns, eating local, supporting local, getting rid of big box. Like people wanted the authentic experience. And that's what RVing and road travel gave you. Pandemic hit. And then it was like, wow, this is obviously the safe way to travel and people need to travel. Now it's still growing. And it's because, I don't know the last time you were on an airplane, but my last like 4 flights have been delayed by multiple hours, including one that was 5-hour delay because they had staffing issues. It was just unbelievable because they just couldn't have people run their airplane. And so the whole time I just felt like this like dairy cow in a pen being told to, relax and wait till we can milk you on the airplane. It's like the total lack of control. And I hated it. You get an RV, it's your world, your way, right? Like you're in the driver's seat, literally. And I just think that's what resonates with us is the freedom and control of our lives. I still take airplanes when I need to, but if I ever have a choice, if we have a 12-hour drive instead of a 2.5-hour flight, I'll take the 12-hour RV trip, 10 out of 10.
Because by the time you do the airport before and after and the luggage and all that crap,
17-hour delays, they lose all your stuff. Like it's just nonsense.
Yeah, it's so great. We got some good questions coming in, but I had a couple more questions for you, Joel. Let me put this up on the screen for the folks. So I'm a little curious, Harvest Host origin story. Now, there's a couple that kind of started it. Can you just kind of quickly give us an overview of how Harvest Host got started? And then kind of what problem does Harvest Host and Boondockers Welcome, maybe explain both of those for the folks. What problems does it solve that keeps it such a robust business?
Yeah, definitely. So it was originally founded by Don and Kim Green, a wonderful couple out of Prescott, Arizona. And they started Harvest Hosts in 2009. And, I always say, God bless them, because I don't know how you build a 2-sided marketplace from the ground up like that. To go to host and say, we don't have members yet, but soon we will. Would you like to join? And then get members to actually give you the money to build the network before you really have hosts. Like that's a really complicated chicken and egg problem. And they nailed it, right? They absolutely nailed it. But by the time I purchased the company in 2018, they had 600 hosts and incredible, because then it let me come in and do what I'm good at, which is add some technology, right? We have 52 employees now. We rebuilt the website, rebuilt the app. We started marketing the program, and we've added uh, about 6,000 hosts since we took over 4 years ago. So I think they did what I could not have done. And then luckily, like we all have our talents. I was able to take this incredible program and grow it. And that's what I told the couple, when I originally reached out. They weren't selling Harvest Hosts. I reached out to them and just said, hey, I'm a member, because we had found out about the program on the road, became members, fell in love with the concept, because how could you not? The first place we stayed was this alpaca farm in Kansas, run by nuns, and everything about it was just the most incredible experience. And I still tell that story 4 years later, like all the time. So I reached out and said, I love this concept. Have you ever considered, selling it? Because I would love to try to grow it. And they said, no, we like the business. We had never thought about selling it. But we like that you are an RVer. So this is not just a money play for you. Because they had offers from people just wanting to buy a business to make money. And I said, no, that's not my goal. Like when I built and sold Storyblocks, that was the life-changing event there. This is not about money. Now it's about a passion. I just really like this. And they made me present them with a plan for all the things that I would do once I owned the company. And I did. There's like a multiple page document on like, here are the things I'm going to do. Here's how I'm going to preserve the integrity and the spirit of the program. We're not going to sell it out. And I'm pretty proud to say 4 years later, we've stuck to that and really, I think, kept the spirit of the program alive. And one of the ways I can say that that's accurate is we do a lot of surveying and NPS scoring. So satisfaction scoring of members and hosts. And it's actually grown over 4 years, which is wonderful. So people are still happy with it. And then the final thing I'll say is Don and Kim got the inspiration for the program from Europe. So there was a program called France Passion in Europe. And in fact, there's a few different similar programs where you can take your RV to a winery and spend the night in exchange for buying wine. And they thought it was such a cool concept. Like, how does this not exist in the United States? That was their inspiration. And again, God bless them for bringing it back, because it's been incredible.
Yeah, that's just so amazing. And I was going to ask you why you joined, but now you just kind of already revealed that. And you guys have done an amazing job. I got to tell you, well, I'm going to show some pictures in a minute, but we got some good questions coming in from Robin. So let me see if I can bring this on screen. Robin wants to know, not many harvest hosts in Southern California, and I can attest to that. I was there last year, and it's a desert. Yep. Can you get more in Temecula, which is, Las Olivias, Santa Ynez? I know Temecula's, I think, in New Mexico. Parker opened some of that winery for you. Went to school with Eli Parker. So it kind of addresses the thing. How do you have a team that reaches out to places and actively recruit them? Because I'm doing it for you as well, but I'm just curious how you are addressing that.
Yeah, totally. So host recruitment is our biggest focus, right? Of all the things we do at Harvest Hosts, making sure we have great hosts and more hosts. That's where we start, because we're very well aware that without hosts, we have nothing. And so we have a host recruiting team of 6 full-time employees who are working the phones, working email, responding to member suggestions, sending out mailers. We send out tens of thousands of mailers to small businesses, trying to help them understand the program and follow up. So they're recruiting. And right now they're bringing in, well, last month they brought in over 300 hosts, which was a record for us. The goal this year was to add 2,000 new harvest hosts, and they're going to hit that goal, which is phenomenal. It'll double our network this year versus last year. And that's not by accident, right? The way it's built, it's an inside sales team. They're broken down by geography, types, and they're really just getting better and better at taking the message to hosts, which is a great message. Free program, never costs a host anything. If you have room for an RVer and you're looking for more business and friendly faces, by the way, this could be a good fit. No long-term contracts. You don't have to offer hookups of any kind. Just give them a place to stay and a product to buy. So it's a pretty good pitch, but it still takes pitching. So that's how we've grown, so fast, and that's where we keep a lot of our focus. But to your point about Southern California, because that's a very good point. Our team knows exactly where we need more hosts, and California is one of the biggest ones. Unfortunately, California is one of the most frustrating states to work with politically. I mean, they in some areas they blanket ban RV stays overnight, which is a bummer, right? Like if you look at Napa Valley, like we can't work with wineries there. luckily we can in Paso Robles. So we have some great Paso Robles wineries. So some places blanket ban it. Others make our lives really challenging. Like we'll go in and light up hosts, and then they'll, the local municipality will reach out to these establishments and say, this is illegal camping. You can't do this. So California has made our life as difficult as possible to light up hosts, which is a shame. I think part of it, and I get it, is they have a problem with homelessness in RVs and distinguishing between that and travelers. And I get it. It's a difficult line. And so the way that they deal with it is just to say nobody can do it. But that's the problem in California.
And it's so easy to say no. And that's why I'm so passionate about this program, Harvest Host Boondocker Welcome, and being good citizens as a traveler. Because I've seen some hellholes in a Cracker Barrel or Walmart. So I didn't go to Walmarts anywhere, where people just, dumping their black. I mean, it's really bad stuff. And it's so easy to say, no, just not going to deal with it with anybody. Or not making distinctions. Let's show this on screen. I think that's a great answer. I really appreciate it. What do you kind of attribute your growth to? And then maybe talk about the acquisition of BW, Boondocker Welcome. They're they're similar but very different programs. But where do you think the growth is coming from? 4,000 to 250,000. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So,
and then we got some more questions. But
the simple answer is, I knew this program had an amazing spirit because as an RVer, I loved it. I also knew that not enough people knew about it. And so really the biggest growth vector has been marketing. And we spend $10 million a year, roughly, advertising and marketing the program. And that's growing as we grow. But we're investing heavily in that. And so we started back in the day with heavy Facebook investing, advertising to RVers and relevant audiences. We've done some television campaigns on Discovery and Fox and others like that. We did a big radio campaign this year. Then of course we do Google and Pinterest, and we've even tried TikTok. That one didn't work, but we do a lot of advertising because I think the intersection of having a great product with getting the word out is important. You can't just rely on people to figure it out on their own.
Right. How important are influencers like me? To kind of crow about it. I do it a lot because I just kind of get tired of me talking about it, but it's so important.
No, the short answer is hyper important. And in fact, 20% of our business comes from referrals, directly from referrals from influencers and members telling others about the program. That's awesome, right? I mean, that's the coolest, because in my last business, which was a B2B business, stock video, we had none of that. No one really cared to go home and tell others about like how cool our product was, even though it was a good product. Harvest Host is a social product. I mean, like the photos are beautiful. The experiences are worth talking about. So this is the first time I've run a business that has an influencer component, and it's super fun to see it through your lens and the others we work with. And it's super effective. So thank you for spreading the gospel.
Yeah. Oh, I appreciate it. I was telling Joel before we went live, I left my KOA campground last Tuesday last week, and I've been running Harvest Host and a couple nights in the Chicago downtown loop surface parking lot. But I use the heck out of this program. I'm just kind of curious. Tell us a little bit about, so Harvest Host is HHBW, Boondocker Welcome. Again, similar but different. Harvest Host on commercial property with kind of an expectation to buy some product. All right. Boondocker Welcome, it's private property, largely current and former RVers. What was that acquisition like? And I love the fact that you have one single app now that does everything. It's so easy on the user. Maybe just talk to us about that a little bit. Then we got a couple more questions coming in here.
Yeah. So, I've always loved the Boondockers Welcome program. So I've known about it as long as I've known about Harvest Hosts. I've been in touch with Marianne and Anna, the founders, for years. And I told them for years, I love this product. I love what you've built. It's the same thing that I loved about Harvest Hosts. Tons of similarities. Wonderful founding team, great spirit of the program. It was not all about the money. It was about building something great. And so I said, if you ever get to a point where you want to sell, please consider us. And so that conversation happened last year. I think Marianne was ready to retire and travel more. And Anna was ready to, do the next thing, because she's been doing it a long time. And so we purchased the company in May of last year, 2021. And it's been amazing. It's been an absolutely amazing addition. Like you said, the reason I knew it would work is that, again, as an RVer, I loved Boondockers Welcome, just as much as I loved Harvest Host. Like if I want to go do a winery or a brewery or a golf course, Harvest Host, perfect. If I want to go find some beautiful property to park in a peaceful night and then maybe go share a drink with, the owner and talk about traveling, like that's the community element. And so as a user, I knew that there were at least going to be a lot of others like me, and that the cross sell would be popular. And it has been. So it took us a long time. It took us a year to technologically rebuild it so that they could both be together in one booking system, one app, one website. And we started cross-selling it this year, and it's been very, very well received, and which is great.
It's amazing. And again, I think for a full-time traveler like myself, I really rely on this program, Harvest Host Boondocker Welcome. And what I like about Boondocker Welcome, and I'll be honest, the first few times I felt like I was completely intruding on somebody's driveway, right? A winery, I'm way out there, and they don't bother me. But I found to have really latched on to Boondocker Welcome because, as you say, it's private property. They're usually way out or sometimes way in, which is just as cool. And they let you stay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 nights. Many of them offer a 15-amp plug-in. Maybe they can tap off your water tank. So it's a very, again, RV community friendly experience. Some want to be very chatty. Others don't want to talk to at all. And inevitably, always have a wine or a coffee with them. And they're travelers. They in many ways wish they were doing what I was doing, but I'm glad they have a house so I can come stay with them. But
by the way, the combination of Harvest Host and Boondockers is perfect because I'll buy some wine or beer at Harvest Host and I'll take it and share or give it as a gift right to the Boondockers Welcome. It's like the perfect harmony.
That is so great. One more question, then we'll take some questions. We've got a big crowd here tonight. I saw 102 just a second ago. I'm curious, Joel, the growth in the type of RV. There's Class A, the big bus, the Class B, which is the camper van, the Class C, which is kind of the classic silhouette with the cab over the driver's, a bed over the driver's cab. Where are you seeing, if there's any distinction, the biggest growth in the classes of RVs for Harvest Host membership?
Yeah, it's interesting. It tracks pretty closely to the industry, like RVIA reports, which is Class A's are a double-digit percentage of our members, but probably like call it 20%. And that stayed pretty constant over time. The growing segment are really the smaller units. It's the vans and the travel trailers. That's the segment that's been growing by leaps and bounds. And I don't know exactly what that is. I don't know. I mean, van life, as you've noticed, has become increasingly popular in the last couple of years. I think that they're building better units that are now capable of going all the places they need to go. And they're totally, I mean, look at your unit, like you can live in that thing forever, which you do. So I think maybe that's what's changed. The technology has made it so that smaller is better. But that's a segment that's growing for us.
That's really great to hear. And I just love to see other vans because we have something in common, right? I mean, any RVers is travel experience, but when I see a van, there's an instant connection and chit. And then we, it's just so great. And my coach is a Winnebago Travado GL. So it's a lithium equipped coach and Volta. We're running on Volta right now, even though I don't have the AC running, all my gear is plugged into 110. And I think the lithium experience, maybe we'll have some time to talk about that later, how it enables somebody to sit in a winery, vineyard in particular, and run the AC overnight in silence because there's no generator. So again, the enablement of a freedom to park in one of my favorite ones is I can't remember the state, it was in Vineyard. The full moon was coming up, enjoying that wine. And it was so magic. I was all by myself, me and my cat. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. But let's take some questions. You're doing really good at this. Thank you. I knew you'd be excellent at this. So here's Travel Dreamers got a question, Joel. Scott, did you check out the Neuheimer adventure in Europe? Nope. Head to Europe next month, and we'll be looking to do some van tours from Europe. So hang tight there, Travel Dreamer. This is the one I was looking for. Steve's got a question, Joel. Can Harvest Host add data on cell signal strength at the host? That's a pregnant idea. That's why I'm in a Super 8 motel lot.
Yeah. It's a timely question, actually. We have built this, and it's part of a data pack. So we now have the ability to overlay cell signal, dump stations. We have a whole dump station data set that we built out. Weather, fire, smoke. There are a lot of really interesting data layers that you can now enable to see exactly, what's what. And with cell signal, you can choose carrier, say Verizon, AT&T, and see exactly who your carrier is and whether there'll be service. Frustrating thing is we submitted this to Apple in our app update, and Apple's blocking us because they want us to now pay the piper and pay them like 30%, to enable subscriptions through Apple. And we just haven't built that technology. So it's going to take us now a while, unfortunately, to make this available on the app, but I'm hoping we can release it on the website. So if you use the website to book, it should be available soon.
That is so great. Apple's got their way. New iPhones announced today. Yeah. They figure out a way to make things happen just literally this thing going on right now. I mean, this is total magic, right? What's happening right now. Sparks guy's got a kind of a comment, Joel. So he says, drove by a new harvest host near my home in North Jersey, farm to table restaurant on a farm. Maybe this kind of begs the question, what do hosts see in this? New customers, some notoriety, maybe Instagram posts. So are you seeing more of this kind of thing where you said you added 300 host sites, right? Something like that. So
300 last month.
Last month. That's insane.
Yeah. And we're going for 2,000 for the year. And yeah, it's interesting. This is what I love. So when we survey our hosts, and we've had many hosts have been with us for years. So most hosts join and they never leave because they love the program. And there's no contract, there's no contractual obligation. We always say, stay with us as long as you're enjoying it. If it doesn't work for you, no questions asked. We appreciate it. And that's it. But most hosts stay a long time. And so when we survey and ask them, why are you in the program? Why do you like it? Because they score us really high. In fact, the satisfaction rating that hosts give us is higher than Apple gets from their customers, higher than Amazon, higher than Netflix, all companies that I love and respect. So it makes me feel really good that our hosts love us more than they love these products that are amazing. When we ask them why, they say, number one, I would think the answer would be money, right? That's the biggest economic incentive is they make more money. But actually the first response is they enjoy sharing their lifestyle with our members. And that that's very touching, but B, it's very telling because we have, over 1,000 farms and farmers want to or this farm to table restaurant. They want to share what they are passionate about with other passionate people, and RVers are very passionate. So I think, that's just amazing that our wineries, they want to share the products they're building or that they're creating out of love. And every host has their reason, but it's not money first, but then it's money. And number two is these are businesses. Obviously they benefit from our members visiting. On average, our members spend an additional $13,000 a year with the hosts in our program. And this year, our members will spend $40 million total across all of our host network. And we don't take any of that. So we never take a percentage of it. It just goes directly to our hosts. So that's the economic incentive, is that they can make some real money. And a lot of our businesses are smaller, mom and pop run, enthusiast based. It was particularly meaningful during the pandemic. We had a number of hosts reach out and say, we were literally going to lose the farm or shut down the winery if Harvest Host hadn't been here, but your members kept showing up, which was awesome.
That's so great. Yeah, I think it's, I'm glad to hear it's about, I'll call it the relationship of the crafter and the traveler. I love Harvest Host, not because of the free camping, because rarely is it free for me, but it takes me to places I wouldn't go, number one, and I get to meet the maker. And to me, I've learned so much about, our Libation Live coming up here in a few minutes. Bourbon and whiskey, I really discovered it through Harvest Host, and I am in love with distilled spirits, or bourbon and whiskey, but meeting the guy or gal that's actually making that product and then realizing what it takes to get that product into my little glass, the appreciation for that is like to the moon for me. In fact, I met the winemaker at Bella Terra tonight or earlier today. A really cool cat. He's drinking beer though. It's kind of weird, but it's just, again, talking to the guy about making wine and seeing wine be made. The appreciation for me just goes off the charts. And so a couple more questions coming in here, and man, we're this hour goes so fast. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about traveler feedback. So Teresa's got a question here, Joel. Harvest Host question: what's the best way to introduce Harvest Host to businesses that would be a good candidate to be a host? That's a beautiful question. We'll help you reach your goal. What's a good answer for Frisco T, as I call her? She's a great gal.
That's a wonderful question. And we actually have a suggest a host page. So there's a couple ways you could do it. Of course, you could just tell the host about the program and tell them to go on our website. At the very top, there's the link, become a host. And so as a potential host, they can go there, see testimonials from other hosts of all different types. If they like it, they can sign up right there. It's always free, like I said. And then we also have a suggest a host form that you can fill out and actually submit a little information on the place. And then if they join, we basically thank you, either with some free membership or monetary compensation. There are a few ways to do it, but I'm trying to find out. I'm Googling this in real time where our link is, because I know for members every month in the newsletter we have a link that says suggest a host, and that's the easiest way to get there. For non-members, it's probably easiest just to tell them to go to the website and click on become a host. But we appreciate your help, and that's what drives the program. We get thousands of suggestions, and our team reaches out to those first immediately.
A leads list from customers. Could it be any better than that, really? That's free.
Totally.
And I to your point, Frisco T and Joel, so really fast story. Small towns are where all the action is for me. I prefer a small town way more than anything else these days. This was in Sheboygan Falls, Wisconsin. It should have been a Harvest Host site. And I talked to the visitor bureau lady. She goes, "Yeah, you can't park on the streets. But here's the chief of police. Give him a call, and maybe he'll let you stay tomorrow night." So I want to make a camper van travel guide about your cute little town because it needs to be on the map. But I'm not going to make a guide if we can't stay overnight. It makes no sense. The police chief did call me the next day. I couldn't believe it. And I ran through the whole scenario and the Harvest Host program. He goes, "That's an interesting program. We would love to have more visitors, but it's a city ordinance.
Yeah.
It's so easy to say no." So I sent her the information. I sent them the information. I said, "You guys really need to put this on your plan for next year." And I always use my poster child city of doing it right, Pontiac, Illinois.
Oh my goodness.
Route 66.
Incredible.
They are the best. They are the best.
The best.
And guess where the Harvest Host site, if you've been there, you know the Harvest Host parking spot is City Hall. Yes. They got 5 of them.
And the mayor comes out sometimes and gives you gift bags.
Swag bags and hugs and where are you coming in from? And they support the local merchants. They're always my favorite poster child story. So thank you, Frisco T, for bringing that up. And I working together, we can help bring dollars into small communities, help revitalize downtowns. And it takes a team. And if they get a good law changed, then at least they have some ammunition and some case studies. So, okay, let's get through some more of these. Joel, you're doing great. So look at Gilbert here. He is always a fat cat. Thank you, sir, for your awesome super chat. Appreciate that. Gilbert's got a question. With 7,325 Harvest Boondocker sites, what's the plan for future growth? Other areas that you are targeting from our sites? We talked about California. That might be a bit of more challenge, but any other thoughts on that? We kind of talked about this a little bit, but thank you, Gilbert, for the
great question. And the nice thing is we use data to solve this. And so now, within the last year, virtually all of our hosts are on our booking system. We call it Request to Stay. And so when you search on the network, you find a winery or a vineyard or a brewery that you like, you choose the calendar, dates you want, book it. We know if people are searching for locations that are unavailable or full, and we know the areas we need more density. That's the beautiful thing about this booking system is it gives us a ton of information about where our members are trying to stay and when. And so that then gets funneled back to the host recruiting team, and they use it to reach out. So we'll say specifically like Northwest Washington is very popular right now, or at the moment, the Rocky Mountain region is a place that we need more density. And that it's all come from the searches that our members are making. So as they search, we use that data in the background to then actually go out and try to find hosts.
That is so great. Technology at its finest. It's so great. Here's a little case study for you, Joel. This is Gary, loyal viewer. Enjoy Harvest Host. Played golf at Devil's Thumb, Delta, Colorado last. You probably know where that is, actually.
Yeah, it's not too far from me, and it looks awesome. And I'm so frustrated. I've been meaning to get there to play golf because I love playing golf. I'm not that good, but it's, I guess it's just one of those things people do. Devil's Thumb looks awesome. So I'm glad to hear it was great.
And I love the golf courses because I stayed at one 2 nights ago, and golfers are the best hosts because they're not around at night. everybody goes home. The bar and grill closes at 8 and it's dark and they all go home and then they arrive at 7 next morning. So they're almost my favorite. They usually have good bar and grill. They got some Wi-Fi. I'm always giving a van tour. So I really love the golf course. Some people don't, step up to that next level, and golf courses are in urban environments and rarely are they in a bad neighborhood. So
That's right.
we got 116 people in here tonight. This is so great.
Nice.
See, Mason Mike's got a question, Joel, and then we've got a few more things to talk about. See, rumor has Cracker Barrel stopped letting RVers stay at their locations. Have you heard rumbling? And what does Joel think about options other than Harvest Host? He uses them both. I have not heard anything about Cracker Barrel. I am very vocal when I roll in. I buy dinner. I thank them. I thank the manager, the waitress, everybody. I know how important it is, but I've not seen it abused, so I would be a little surprised by that. Nothing like Walmart. Walmart's been abused.
Yeah.
It's just so easy for ordinance to say no, right? That's the
point. And I think it's one of these like liability things. Like, unfortunately, we live in a day and age where no one takes responsibility for stuff they do, and they like to sue people. And so Walmart is currently in a lawsuit that is probably going to potentially end all RVing at Walmarts just across the board. It's a bummer because I think the more places RVers have to stay, the better. That said, when people ask me who we compete with, we don't compete with Campgrounds. We compete with the Walmart parking lot. I always say that, right? Winery over Walmart's, rosé over rest stops. So like, why stay in a parking lot with bright lights on you all night long? I love Walmart, by the way. Great stuff there, but I don't want to stay there. I want to go to the winery where it's quiet and peaceful.
Totally agree with you. This is a good question from Sherry. She's had her van now for a year. Are there specific qualifications one needs to be a Boondocker Welcome site? How do you validate people? That's your question.
So as a Boondockers Welcome, so with Harvest Host, you have to have an operating business license, sell a product. Boondockers Welcome is for the private property. So, because like Scott was saying, we have a lot of urban areas. We have a lot of places in the middle of like farms. And it's usually travelers that want to just share their property, or just really nice people that want to share. The only requirement really is that you have a place that can fit an RV. And it doesn't have to be a big rig. When you sign up, you can say, I have a driveway. It can fit, rigs 25 feet and under, right? So vans, etc. You don't have to have insurance. We actually provide insurance as part of the program. So every time someone stays through Boondockers Welcome, we pay a little bit to an insurance company to insure the stay. So that if anything were to go wrong, like there hopefully is coverage there. So that's it. You just have to have a willingness to let someone spend the night, and you can choose whether that's one night up to 5 nights. And we'd love to have you in the program.
Yeah, it's just so great. And let's see. Bar Sky's got to say, I pitched Harvest Host to several golf courses and smaller glider rides businesses, a tiny airport, New Jersey. Do you have a sales force? Yes, you said you had inside folks. So I think it's back to kind of the form, Joel, to prompt folks to give leads, essentially.
That's right. Yep, exactly. So if you're a member, next time you get the member newsletter, you'll notice in there's a link that says suggest a host, and it outlines the benefits you get for suggesting a host, especially if they come on board. And our team will do the heavy lifting. They've got the pitch down. So you just give us the ideas, and then you get rewarded once our team gets them on.
That's so great. This is Jerry Minchie. He's a prolific RV author, and he came on a few months. It's been quite a number of months back. But Scott, you find the most interesting guests. Yeah, give a thumb up for Joel taking time out of his day to join us. Here's Mason Mike giving a little jingle in a jar. Hey Vanbro, notice some trends. Smaller RV parks made an additional attraction. Cattle Rest Saloon and RV Park are doubling down as a Harvest Host location as well. Does Joel see that in a trend? So it's an already established RV park. They have a really cool saloon, and they're becoming a Harvest Host site as well, which is pretty interesting because they're going to come in and buy food and booze, right?
Yeah, it is interesting. And so we don't have a lot of these, but basically if an RV park reaches out to us and says, we'd like to be in the program, the answer is you can. You just have to offer at least a couple sites for Harvest Host members where they can stay for free in Boondock, right? Because that's the spirit of the program. And then something else they can buy, like if you have a store, or in this case, a restaurant, a product they can come in and support. That's fine. But that is the fine line between, right? We're not really a campground program. We're not a campground program at all, But these are small businesses, and if they have space and they want to let people stay, that's great. I love it.
Yeah, it's so great. Got a few more questions, but I want to kind of talk about this and show a picture. Whoops, to the folks. I got a big group in here tonight. This is so great. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate this. That's some great questions too. So, you guys take a lot of feedback from the membership, right? And I'm, as I travel around, I'm seeing this feedback, and I'm sure from the hosts too. So I want to show this specifically. I showed Joel this earlier. This is a winery again, a vineyard. It's vineyard at or on Pine Lake. That's the lake behind me, or in front of me, I guess. And what I was really excited about, I'm starting to see more and more of these, is there's my rig, of course, but then there's this sign. There was signage for the Harvest Host traveler to come in through the driveway, where to park, and then there's the parking spots. And these guys, is it the next one? No, are real studs, because you can't really see it here, but they actually offered electricity. And the guy in the Class C is like, I'm going to plug in. I'm like, I've got Volta. I don't need to plug in, but thank you very much. But thank you for working on your signage program. Is this some of the feedback from travelers and host sites?
Yes. And in fact, we have signs that we send out to well-established hosts. So hosts that have been with us for a while, getting a lot of visitors. Yep, we ship the signs out, because I'm with you. When I pull up to a location, it's so much easier if I see exactly where to park, and it's better for the hosts, because that's one of the, we don't get too many complaints, but one from hosts is people didn't know where to go, and we had to like go out and direct them. It takes all of our time, and you're like, yeah, put a sign up, and we're right? Very self-sufficient.
Yeah, and that company there was really good. Vineyards I find to be really proactive. She gave me a swag bag. All this, we'll run food out to your van, blah blah blah. What are the local things to do and see? Some are super proactive. But then there's other ones like the golf course here. I stayed out the night before that, so this is my third night in a Harvest Host situation in a row. It's like, just go park out back. I'm like, so that was my view. I opened my door, and the golfers went away at 6, and I did have a burger and a beer in there earlier in the day. And that was my campsite, and it was pitch black. There was no lights overnight, which is, I love those. I've actually had some say, do you want the lights on or off? I'm like, geez, that's my choice. Turn the darn things off. And the stars come out, and it just changes the mood. I was the only one there. So again, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about this. I'm preaching to the choir too, but it's just so important. A couple more questions, and we'll do Libation Live. Let's see. Sherry's got a good question here. I've been seeing more of these. Thank you for adding churches to your selection of Harvest Host sites. Stayed at several, and wonderful. And they have big parking lots. They're usually empty except Sunday morning, right? So why not?
And great locations, right? Like there are some wonderful locations. And so it's interesting. It was about a year ago, we had a church reach out and apply to be in the program. And it was the first time we were like, that's interesting. We'd never thought about churches. And we said, all right, well, let's do it. We'll try it. We'll see if our members like it. Leave it up to the members. And we gave them the ability. We put links to their Venmo and some of their other ways to donate to the church in the profile. So it's up to you, but if you want to donate to the church, here's how you can do it. The church is located in Lake Tahoe, California. So wonderful location. And over the course of the year, they got $12,000 in donations from members. Members loved them. They actually got new people going to their, joining their congregation, or at least attending services. So the pastor really liked it as well. So it was cool. We're like, this works. There's so many churches that could benefit. And actually these days, we love helping all businesses, but especially businesses that are struggling. And churches they're an important part of our society. Like they just provide of all, whatever the sect, it doesn't matter, but they provide wholesome things, right? And a lot of them are struggling coming out of COVID. Attendance is down, donations are down. So our team's now actively recruiting, and we've added 200 churches in the last 6 months, and it's been really cool. So we're going to keep pushing hard on that program.
Yeah, it's just so great. And I just love to support, craftspeople and people, as you say, they're such a important part of the fabric of our societies.
Yep.
So Mudpie's got a good question here. Then we are going to do Libation Live. I can't believe how fast this hour goes. So how do we get the best deal joining? Go through Harvest Host, Boondockers Welcome. They both advertise what appears to be a good deal. I offer 15% off. You guys offer 15% off, so it's a little bit of a tug of war there. I get paid a few dollars from Harvest Host. If you guys sign up through me, I sure appreciate that. But maybe actually just kind of walk us through the pricing program, because there's tiers, right? So that's probably a good time to talk about that too.
That's right. So, first of all, yes, join through his link, because then you get the 15% discount. Everyone's happy. And then you'll see the ability to upgrade. So once you join, you'll be given the opportunity to then add on the golf courses or Boondockers Welcome or the full thing, which is all access. And it's not really that much more expensive, but once if you go all access, which is what we really want everyone to do, and we're trying to make all access as compelling as possible, that's the full like 7,300 locations. It's a really good deal. And it's obviously much better than buying these programs separately. So to your point, you can either come through Boondockers Welcome and upgrade, or through Harvest Host and upgrade. They're going to ultimately be the same price. That's the beautiful thing about these all being tied together on the back end. The all access plan is going to be the same price no matter which way you come through. And I think it's a really good deal, right? That's what we tried to create a deal that was a no-brainer. We spent a lot of money buying Boondockers Welcome. So we're trying to like get some of that back, which is why we can't just throw them. But there's a couple of reasons we didn't want to just throw them together, because they are different programs, and we want to make sure people are choosing to opt in to pay for another program so they honor the spirit. But yes, that's the way to do it, is join through Scott's link, and then you'll see the options to upgrade, and you'll see the discounts that you get.
And my link is on my website, Go Small, Live Large, under the other tab. And the whole thing, Joel, I mean, last time I looked, we kind of did the math. It's been 6 months ago. It was like $225 for a year, and they kind of lock in the price. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. Yep. And
that's all in for $225, right?
I actually think that if you come through your link, it's less than that. I think it's closer to $150.
$150. Wow.
Yeah.
And so you get access to all these places. And to me, that's the biggest thing. And then it's the people, then it's the, this kind of stuff that gets me excited. Yep. But good question. Let's see. Sharon, we've talked about this a little bit already, but we'll hit the question. Can merchants contact your main office if you want to become a host and have not been contacted by your recruiters? It's kind of the same thing, right? The web form and the link in the newsletter.
Totally. I mean, if you're a potential host, the best thing to do is just go to harvesthost.com, and right on the top navigation, there's a link that says become a host. And when you click on that, it's a short form: first name, last name, email, company name, phone number, and then we'll ask you a little bit about your business. What do you offer, et cetera, et cetera. And our team will then reach out and walk you through the process of getting onboarded. It's really simple. But then, if you're not even ready to take that step of applying, you can, on that same page, watch all these nice testimonials from a brewery, a vineyard, a farm. And then you can keep scrolling down and learning all about the program, how it works. Why we have a section called Why Become a Host. And there's, I think, some pretty compelling reasons. That's the information you want to see. So harvesthost.com, click on Become a Host. And I hope that answers all your questions. And then if not, you'll see right on there the ability to contact our team, and then they'll be at your service immediately.
That's amazing. Jack's got a similar question. We've kind of talked about this a bit, so hopefully you've been taking notes, Jack. Let's get through a couple more. If we go 10 minutes late, overtime, is that okay?
Yeah. For
you, Joel? Okay.
Good.
We've got a lot of great questions, and I had a couple more for you, and we do need to do libation light. Let's see. Sparkshare, I'm not going to put that on screen, although it'd be a nice filter. Let's see. So Alex got a question here. I'd love to see more data packs, including maybe even commercial public campgrounds, checking half dozen apps for planning and copying. It does take a lot of time, but your new route planning tool is such a genius move. Any thoughts on Alex's question here?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's one that we debate internally all the time. Is how involved in the route planning process in general do we want to become? And for now, we've said, like, let's stick with what we're good at, which is help. We have a really good route planning tool, like Scott was saying, but specifically for finding Harvest Host locations and Boondockers Welcome locations. Now, we're starting to expand out of that with dump stations. We're adding in thousands of dump stations because that was a huge request. And then cellular data as a data layer. We're adding a lot of data layers, but it's an interesting question on whether we add traditional campgrounds, BLM, more of the data layers that you might find with Campendium. To date, we've decided like Campendium's really good. Like, let's let, unfortunately it is another app, but like, that's what I use when I'm trying to find places. So we decided not to go into that yet. But we are always trying to make our app more and more useful. So I imagine as years go on, it'll become a much more, like, hopefully the first place you can start when you're route planning.
Yeah, it's a good point because you can almost do data overload too. So some of my favorite apps is the All Stays, and if you filter, they have too many filters. I mean, you don't need 25 filters in my opinion. Let's just pick five that are relevant to most people. But the route planning tool is, when I show that as part of my route planning class, people are like, "What?" And it just makes it so easy. So I'm sure there's not a great host in every occasion, but John's got a question here. He's got a tip, so he gets a little jingle in the jar. Thank you, John. Have had amazing harvest hosts, but one never replied, even with text, phone number, etc. Is there a way to review without staying there to give a heads up to other members who may want to stay? So it's kind of a two-way review system, right? I can review them, they
Yes.
review me as I've stayed, but if they've never replied, I'm sure it's kind of an infrequent thing. But any thoughts on that?
Totally. So I mean, the best thing to do is let our team know. We actually, the nice thing with the request to stay system is that, again, we can tell if hosts aren't being responsive, and we can tell how long it's taking them to respond. And almost all of our hosts, I think it's like 90% of our hosts now, are on the request to stay system. So it's only a couple hundred, and it's mainly golf courses that aren't. We know if they're unresponsive hosts, and then we proactively reach out and say, hey, you got to get this timed response faster, or we can't keep you in the program. And we have a secret shopper program too. So we have a host success team, which is separate from our host recruiting team. And it's another team of about 6 people who work with hosts, but then also will go and make secret shopper reservations. And then eventually tell them this is just, a test, and like give them some compensation. But if we find that hosts are unresponsive, we do remove them from the program. Luckily it doesn't happen too often, but it's super frustrating as an RVer, of course. If you're trying to find a place to stay and like time's of the essence, you're probably like me, you don't like to book that far out. So maybe you're looking for somewhere tomorrow. That lack of responsiveness can be a burden.
Yeah. And that's left of the diversity is just growing so wildly. I've seen some rock climbing things. The museums are great. The churches are great. There's like a gaming establishment, laser tag. I mean, you guys are getting some really cool stuff. So it's
Cool.
not just about
Yeah.
wine and beer and
No, over half of
spirits.
our locations are non-alcohol related, and that was intentional because we have a lot of family RVers, and then we have a lot of people who either don't drink, which is fine, great, or maybe they don't want to drink during the week, or they don't want to drink all the time. They don't want to drink during the week. So half our locations are farms, museums, and other attractions like that.
Yeah, it's so great. So Teresa's got a little testimony. Her first 3 nights in her van, she's got a Coachman Beyond. We're at the Harvest Host. She brought it home from California to Texas, and then she gives
Cool.
us a little jingle in the jar. So thank you, Teresa, for that. I appreciate it. She's a great gal, and she's kind of cool because she travels alone. Her husband's like, yeah, that van thing. So
Great.
she's a bold gal and just goes out on her own, and I just love that. It's so great. Sparks Guy's saying, more hosts between Savannah and Jacksonville. Yeah,
The
it's funny
95 corridor crush.
because
It's funny. We do actually, that's another thing our team looks at, are the big intersections of highways. And because most RVers do stick to large highways before they get off, and we try to encourage our members, like, make sure you get off the beaten path a bit, but we're also very well aware that all of us use the highways. And so we look at the major corridors and where they intersect. And that's another place we draw circles and say, let's make sure there's density.
that's so great. This is a curious question here. A more van, love that. We're doing Libation Live next. So, do you find RV campground industry lobbying against harvest hosts when it comes to getting local laws out of your way? Interesting question.
No, and luckily so far the answer is no, because we try to keep a very positive relationship with campgrounds. I'm very honest when I say we don't compete with campgrounds, because the data shows our members usually at some point before or after a stay or a number of stays, they go to a campground to dump, refill water, plug in. And so in areas that we open up host locations, the campgrounds around those host locations see an increase in traffic. And it happens all the time. And so it's usually the campgrounds that don't have hosts near them are the ones that are worried. But as soon as there's a host near them, they see more business. They're like, this is good. So no, we have a very good relationship. And I try to always make that clear, is we don't compete with campgrounds. We're a complement to campgrounds. And actually, our members end up RVing more because of harvest hosts. So our average member spends more nights on the road each year than non-members. It ends up taking more business to campgrounds. So it's we're very much on the same team. I always like to say, like, we're the Switzerland of the RV world. Like we're just trying to make the whole community, kind of rise up. And it's true and it's great.
That's so amazing.
Except for the
All right,
Walmart parking lot. We're coming for you, Walmart parking lot.
I know. Yeah, and I found them to be pretty receptive in small towns. But if they're going to do a corporate wide from Bensonville, Arkansas, that's really unfortunate because it should be localized, not. I don't know. So let's do this. Let's do a libation live. And Joel, as I kind of alluded to, this is where this comes from. Is there's so many great tastes on the road, and I just want to share it with the audience. Some you can acquire locally, even if you're not going to that place. And I just like sharing this stuff. So tonight I was at Bella Terrace. That's where I'm staying after I leave this hotel parking lot. And this is their Sauvignon Blanc. This is an eye chart here, boys and girls. I apologize. Their website's not awesome, but their wine is. And so what I'm just going to pour a little of this. I should have warned you to bring a libation with you. Looks like you're at the office still, so maybe that's a normal. Let me take this off screen. And well, actually, so cheers, everybody. Thank you, Joel, for joining us.
Yeah, cheers. I love Sauvignon Blanc. It's so crisp.
I love Sauvignon Blanc too.
Oof.
And this one's really good. It's got a really strong mineral content, but man, then the fruit just comes flowing. It's just.
So I like about Sauvignon Blanc. You can almost like taste the bubbles on your tongue, even though it's not a bubbly wine. It can be so much minerality. Yeah.
So let me show you folks what this looks like. And this is just, again, why I love, this audience sees a lot of my places I go. This was their wine. What makes these guys cool? I'm excited to do the show tonight, but I'm almost as excited to get back to Harvest Host. You know why? They're doing bingo tonight. Nice. I've never been to Harvest Host where they're doing bingo. Normally it's live music. Love that. But this is the wine bar. You can see the entertainment stuff up on the wall. So I met the vintner tonight. He's the winemaker. I was there at 3:00 today, so it was empty. It'll be packed when I get back. This is the outside for the live music.
It's a beautiful setting.
It's really spectacular. There's just no Verizon coverage. But I'm excited to get back and do bingo. Last week, Joel, we talked about traveling alone and am I lonely? And I'm like, heck no, a bingo. What a great place to haul up and have a libation and play bingo with people. So that's what I'm doing tonight when I get back to camp.
That's awesome.
So I know, right? So a few more questions here. And thanks everybody for hanging in there. 123 feet. Yeah, give Joel a thumb up. Sure to appreciate that. Jane, thank you for a jingle in the jar, ma'am. Appreciate that. Jane and Roger are amazing folks.
Thank you,
we're working
Jane.
on your van tour. But so love Harvest Host, Boondocker Welcome. Takes you places you would not normally go. Meet great people. So true. Learn new things. Absolutely. Thanks for developing such a program. So I did not know, Joel, that you were the owner. I thought you were just kind of the CEO guy, right? You're talking to the owner of Harvest Host, boys and girls. How about that? Wow.
And chief cheerleader and biggest user. Although actually it sounds like Scott uses it more than I do. So I guess I've lost the biggest user title.
I don't know about that, but I see the last 8 nights, I think I've done 5 in Boondocker or Harvest House Boondocker Welcome. So Rich, he's a great guy too. I got a cool van. How about amusement parks? They have huge parking lots and can reserve a few spaces, maybe provide an option. So casinos as well. Lots of ideas. So
totally. And these are all kind of, we call them emerging categories, and our team's trying to crack them. Because you're absolutely right. I mean, we like to look for places that have lots of space and a fun activity, and amusement parks are a no-brainer. So I'm hoping we have some more of those. We have some, but I hope we have more in the network soon.
Let's see. So Neil and Britt got a question here. Hey, Scott and Joel, we had a favorite Harvest Host, Jungle Friends Primate Sanctuary in Florida. Was just booted from the program. Very popular. Can Joel look into getting them back on? There's probably some good reasons, but
interesting. Yeah, I'm not aware of. I mean, I don't know of anybody getting booted, so that's interesting. I will look into that.
So Joel's taking a screenshot. Let's see. This is kind of an interesting idea. You guys probably thought about this from Mason Mike. Joel, do you give the Harvest Host locations a VP rating like Airbnb gives their Superhost designation? If so, how do they get their rating? Do you guys do like a Superhost, or Boondockers kind of does, right?
Boondockers does. Yep.
Yeah.
So you can essentially become a Superhost with Boondockers, and we're saying some nice swag and and all that, and these signs and all kinds of good stuff. Harvest Host, it's something we're working on because we've had a number of requests from hosts who said, like, we love this idea of being an Airbnb Superhost. Can we do it here? So it's in the works. Yep, absolutely.
This is kind of cool. I didn't know there was a Dukes of Hazzard ranch location to stay. That's super cool. Jane's got
That's
a
cool.
question here. So once they renew, so once they sign up, Joel, oh, I'm sorry, get myself back on the thing. Once they sign up for the program, is it an auto renewal every year? And does a person like me that kind of introduced them get a credit on that? That's a question I don't even know the answer to.
It is an auto renewal, but no. Once the membership started, we don't really have a way to track that. So we've got a tracking pixel from your link that goes through our referral program, and it immediately once the success pixel fires, it gives you credit. But then it all runs through a billing platform that we use that's completely disconnected from the affiliate platform, and so we actually have no idea after that first thing happens. We don't know who came from you or Jane Doe.
So it's a one and done. It's all
Yep.
right. Let's see. I got a couple more things to share with the audience. Bear with us. We'll go for just a few more minutes. I just want to call attention to this because this is actually next week. I cannot believe this is next week. We're going to be at the Hershey RV show, the nation's largest, as they say. We're going to do a channel roundup, as I call them, a meetup, Saturday, the 17th of September, 11 a.m. We're going to be in the General RV Travado booth. Volta is hoping to join us for that. But if you're in the, I don't know, kind of Hershey, Pennsylvania area, then come see me. I would be just delighted to see you and meet you. And that's really been the serendipity for this last year. And if you're not going to that, then Chattanooga is a little more central. We're doing the Adventure Van Expo. It's the first weekend in October. So Sunday, the 3rd of October, 11 a.m., we're going to be in the Rover Vans booth. He's the guy to put the ladder and tire holder on my van. And he's really working hard to get a bike rack for me because I hate my bike rack compared to his cool ladder. Nonetheless, that's a different story. I know some of you are coming. Go to their website, adventurevanexpo.com. You can camp. It's cheap, so you got to get a ticket. Or I'll stay in the parking lot. It's just an overnight deal. But come see me there. It'd be just a delight. And Joel, tell us, you guys are doing a lot of sponsorships and things. Like you're not going to the Hershey show, but you do sponsorship. You got a big balloon thing coming up. Tell us about that.
Yeah, totally. We try to be present. In fact, we have a head of events, and Megan's great about getting us present anywhere there's something happening. So if there is any RV expo or get together gathering that you know of that we're not participating in, let us know. And there's different ways we do it. Sometimes it's like sending swag, giving free memberships away for raffles, or actual monetary sponsorships. So I think in Hershey, last year we had a booth and we had people there. This year we have a lot going on. We're kind of busy, so we're not physically going, but I believe we're probably in the gift bags and all that stuff. But the big thing we're doing this year is the Albuquerque Balloon Fiesta. And, this has become a major event for RVers, and we are sponsoring the RV parking lot. So the premium lot this year is called the Harvest Host Premium Lot. It's going to be awesome. We're going to be there all week. We're going to have the Harvest Host RV there, the branded RV. And a lot of our team members, our employees will be actually coming throughout the week. So we'll be meeting with influencers and anybody from the, members, et cetera. So if you're going to be at Albuquerque, definitely swing by. It's going to be awesome. It's unfortunately I did hear it's so popular that they opened registration this year, and within like a couple of hours, they were sold out with a 5,000 RVer backlog, and they actually then shut down the wait list. So I've heard from a lot of people, they're like, I wish we could go, but it's full. I guess that's good news, bad news. It's gonna be a big event. Hopefully they can find more space next year. I don't know how that works, but it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've never been to that. It's always been on my list. I'm pretty terrified of heights, so I'm not sure how I would do, but watching the balloons go up would be amazing.
Yeah, just watching from the ground.
So I think I got most of these. Some of these are duplicate questions. So like Walt, and there's a few others, but if I want a business or want to sign up as a host site as a Boondocker Welcome, the thing is just go to harvesthost.com and information's there. So let's share one last thing and then we'll say good night. I discovered, Joel, through my travels, country music, and how music just turns this travel experience upside down for me. So we always like to share a song or a movie of the week. Last week I visited Michael Jackson's boyhood home, and it was kind of underwhelming on one hand, but you stand and you kind of look at where he came from. There was 11 people staying in a 600 square foot house, a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. It had to be a zoo in there. But if you haven't heard this song in a while, check out Off the Wall by Michael Jackson. It was his big solo release album. Everything prior to that was the Jackson 5 and the Jacksons. This was released in 1979. It has a little bit of a disco sense to it. Quincy Jones produced that. But it was really a solo breakthrough to get away from the rest of the Jacksons. And just a few years later, Thriller was released in 1982. The rest is history. But if you haven't listened to that album, it's really a good album. There's 3 or 4 or 5 songs that are really awesome. I've been playing this Michael Jackson after visiting his home. Joel, do you have a song that you're kind of captivated by these days? You want to share with the group, or your favorite song? Or
Ooh, that's interesting. For me, music changes like depending on the time of day, the season, just how I'm feeling. So of course in the summer, I do like country. Like I love the highway, right? That's my go-to XM radio station. If I had to choose one band to probably play on repeat for the rest of my life, it'd be the Beatles. I think there's just so much variety in their music as they kind of evolve through different instruments and styles and writers. And it's all upbeat for the most part. I mean, there's some dark themes, but like, it's music that usually makes you feel good. That's the kind of music I like. So yeah, interesting question. I hadn't thought about that one.
Yeah, I was kind of sprung it on you. Well, with that, let's say a big thanks to Joel for taking time out of your day. And you've just been a great host and so informative. And everybody give a thumb up. And we just want to say, thank you for joining another What's Up Wednesday, whether it's the live or it is on the replay. Got a video coming out this weekend. We're going to try the camper van. We had a technology fail, so we're trying to get this thing launched. I've hired an editing team, Joel, so I got so many videos that are in the queue. We met with them today, so I think we'll be able to do that. But Joel, just again, thank you again for joining us tonight, and I look forward to our paths crossing at some point. And just thanks for everything you do for the community. It's just so great. I rely on the program, and I'm not alone. So just thank the team for us.
The program exists because of people like you. So thanks for being a member. And then thanks for being such a big constituent. So thank you for having me on, and thanks everyone for all the great questions. This is fun. Yep. I love talking about RVing. Could do this all night.
Yeah, me too, right? So stay put, cool. Joel, for a second. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week. Peace be with you.